Yeah, because I got to think that not that there are many concerns or major concerns for this team, but the last thing we saw was Oklahoma beating them up a little bit on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, and Fabian Lovett did not dress that game either. So, I you got to see more from a few guys. And, if Malcolm Ray can stay fully healthy for a year, that would help. But there's a reason why Florida State went heavy in that transfer portal and grabbing Fisk and Darrell. You got to find help. And you lost Robert Cooper, but Robert Cooper wasn't a pivotal player for Florida State's defense. He hasn't been. He'll hold on to a guy. He'll be able to take a guy, take two, just because of his size and strength. But you're not looking at a ferocious defensive tackle making a rush, or at least even being able to hold a run. And sometimes, definitely when Fabian Lovett's not in the game.
It's not just Oklahoma. Florida was able to dominate us too in the trenches as well. Actually, I was arguing with somebody saying that if Florida really wanted to win the game, they would have just kept running the ball. But thankfully, they started trying to throw the ball with Anthony Richardson. So like that blessed us a lot. So, but Darrell Jackson's coming in 26 pounds bigger than he was last year, and he looks better. And then as my guy brought up, Joshua Farmer, that is a large kid. And both of them played. Every time I see them, I'm like, yo, y'all were teammates. And like, I want to go, when I go to practice tomorrow, I'm going to ask Boucher, like, how did y'all lose with both of those guys on the interior? I mean, they were big when they came in, but they made a concerted effort to try to get a little bit thicker to try to solve some of those problems. And if Farmer takes that step further, Malcolm Ray takes a step. You got Dennis Briggs that you just bumped in, Fisk. You got, obviously, if Fabo was able to play at the level in which he's played when healthy, the sky's the limit for that D-line.
Question coming in from Antoine about KJ Kirkland, Jerrion Jones in the secondary. Both seem to be ahead of the curve physically.
I'm glad that the chat, they're on their A game. They're on their A game. Spring camp is officially back. That's for damn sure. KJ Kirkland, Florida State does a good job, and I think with some of the freshmen coming in, getting them a smooth process and then getting them acclimated quickly to practices. But KJ Kirkland is one that stands out a lot. He's the one that I continuously have to, at practices, look back at my phone and go to the roster sheet and say, who is in this number, because he is making plays. And he had probably the best practice out of everyone yesterday. Grabbed the pick and took it back for 6. And the size looks great. He's putting himself in the right positions, and Florida State needs that. Not that it's going to play a major role this season. Could see playing time. I think he could be a guy that we saw like Azare Thomas last year. Two different type of players, but still one that you could be able to put into a game and not worry so much about it, at least for lesser opponents, blah, blah, blah. But Azare Thomas saw a lot of playing time against some good competition. So, but nonetheless, yeah, seeing that is good. And then, Jerrion Jones, one that always gets harped on about, bad play here and there, but we don't talk about the good things about him. But he's one that always impresses in practices. So that's no shocker there to me whatsoever. And he should. This is a veteran guy, and he should flash, and he should continue to improve, because he does need improvement. But KJ Kirkland, we thought highly of him coming in as a high school recruit, but there's other names, and you've got the stars and you got the ratings and all that crap. But when it comes to competition, these guys are not shy going against some of the veterans that are on this team. And that's exactly what Mike Norvell is wanting to build inside this team's atmosphere around this whole program, is don't be shy to go against the best competition. And I like how Florida State, at least this spring camp specifically, going against better competition, like Vandrevius Jacobs going against one of the top transfers in the country, one of the top corners last year with Fentrell Cypress. Make him go at him. Who cares? Just let him learn early on what's the do's and the don'ts. And there's a lot of accountability building between these guys too, which I like to see from just the true freshmen and newcomers. So KJ Kirkland, we'll continue to watch him, but he was in one of our reports highlighted there yesterday. He's looking good, and I can tell that FSU Twitter's talking about him quite a bit also.
Got our buddy Scott Davis in the chat. Defense will be fine, moving some players around in more depth. Losing J-Rob hurts, but oh well. Is Jamie Robinson the biggest loss on this team?
I mean, yeah.
I don't.
On defense,
he's been gone. J-Rob's been gone. He's been to 2 NFL teams since then. So Janarius is right, yeah. J-Rob.
But I think what you're going to see at safety is going to be different. I mean, I think they're moving some pieces around. You got, as long as what people don't realize, especially against Florida, and where the passing game got away from us in that first half, is Akeem didn't play. Like, he was expected to play. He took all the 1 reps, but then tweaked his ankle during the warm-ups. And now you had to put Shaheem Brown, who's extremely talented, but Shaheem actually plays more of Jamie Robinson's role in the safety as opposed to what Akeem did. So I think everybody's going to find out how good of a player Shaheem is, not just in blocking kicks for LSU fans. So you'll see that. Again, Kirkland's doing very, very well. A lot of guys are getting a lot of guys are going to be performing well. If you get good corner play and that D line is able to apply more pressure with the guys that they're able to bring in, defensive ends getting better, more pressure in the interior, I think you'll see the secondary be okay.